hand over to you in a moment.
Okay, no problem.
Okay, brilliant.
You might have to sing the theme tune, Chris.
Probably wouldn't come through, but anyway, welcome everybody to
Yeah, good morning, everybody.
episode number 80.
Yeah.
I'll rename the webinars again, I think, mightn't we?
Well, maybe, yes, yeah. But no, we've got some fireworks and a little party hat to celebrate that we've reached 80 webinars that we've been doing since March 2020. So lovely to see lots of you here.
Shall we introduce ourselves?
Yes, go on.
Shall we say who we are? So
Go for it,
I'm
Chris.
Chris Morrison, and
And
you
I'm
are?
Jane Secker. And I think many people have been at our webinars for some time now. So normally we'll play our theme tune, but Chris is in a different location and we haven't got the audio working. So you'll just have to sing the theme tune to us, Chris.
Yeah. I think it's time to move on from the theme tune. I did play it. It was playing here in at this end. So I think I have something of a dodgy internet connection, I'll be honest. So there is a bit of a lag, but let's bear with us and let us find out what it is that we're going to be talking about today. Over to you, Jane.
Yeah, okay. So first up, as usual, we'll just run through a bit of copyright news. We've got a couple of news stories for you, and I think we've got Catherine joining us to pop some links in the chat so you can follow up on those. And then our main event today, we're really delighted to be joined by Dal Badisha and Erica Levy from Coventry University, and they're going to be talking about their adventures or their journey with open educational resources. And we're really looking forward to that. And then we'll just do a roundup at the end of what we've got coming up next, because we've got 2 webinars lined up before the end of the year, and we're looking to put a schedule together for the new year as well. So we're always looking for suggestions, but we've got some dates for your diary for the remaining webinars. Okay, so since we last met, yeah, Chris.
Yeah. Well, we've been doing some traveling, haven't we? And we've been going around the place. So me on the left, I was very pleased to be asked to do a session at the Houses of Parliament for the library staff development session there. So here's a cheesy picture of me in one of the areas in the Palace of Westminster where you are allowed to take some photographs. That isn't a tiara.
I do like the fact, yes, Erica's pointed out, you do look like you're wearing a crown. It is a lovely picture.
Yes. Yeah, that wasn't deliberate. I wasn't deliberately trying to get that chandelier in that place. But hey, it happened. Anyway, where are you in this beautiful sunny picture?
I wasn't invited to do a talk anywhere. I was just on holiday. So I don't know if anyone recognises, this is quite an iconic bridge. Irene has spotted it's Bilbao. Yes, so points to Irene for the where is Jane today. So yes, I spent a week in Bilbao, and yes, love the bridge. The world's oldest transporter bridge, and amazing food. So highly recommend Bilbao for a getaway. And maybe you could try and find, I was staying very near the university, so maybe you could try and find some people there interested in copyright and get invited to do a talk there, Chris. Although you have been in Spain, haven't you?
Well, I have just come back from Barcelona, which we're thinking whether I was going to put that picture in. Very excitedly talking about open metadata, which I suspect may be a topic of conversation at some point in the future. But for now, I think we need to stop bragging about where we've been.
But you have found people that are more nerdy than you, that are not just interested in copyright, but they're interested in metadata in a lot of detail, haven't you?
Where copyright meets metadata is actually a fascinating. It's very, very important, and it's something that I think we will probably want to come back to at some point. So anyway, shall we move on?
Let's move on.
Because we've also got something else to celebrate that happened recently.
Since we last met. Yeah, so we saw lots of you in person. Last month, it is still only a month and a bit ago that we were in Manchester. Thank you so much to Neil and the team for hosting us. Thank you so much to the Gallagher brothers for turning up to open the conference. We were really chuffed, weren't we, that they,
It was amazing that
yeah,
they managed to continue to put their differences aside and make time in their busy schedule for us. But it
yeah,
was,
yeah.
it was a very special moment, wasn't it?
Yeah, and we had a fantastic time at the John Rylands University at the library. So that's a picture of us. We like pictures of us look in kind of cathedral looking spaces.
Yeah.
But thank you also to our fantastic Ice Pops organising team. In the picture in the middle, we've got the wonderful Annalise and Catherine and Jonas from the Information Literacy Group. So we had a fantastic time there and really got some great presentations. So that takes us,
Yeah.
I think, onto our first bit of news in a moment. Oh.
Well, but yes, let's not forget the fact that there is still a webinar and blog archive of all the previous webinars. But copyright news, I won't play the
Copyright news,
jingle because
copyright news,
copyright news,
copyright news,
copyright news.
copyright news.
That one, yep. Okay, so it is the news that those presentations are available.
They are, yes. So if you didn't make it to Ice Pops and you want to see the kinds of things that were going on, then all the presentations from the Lightning Talk speakers, from our keynote from Monica Weston, are all up on the website. So you can check those out. And there's also a selection of fantastic photos if you want to see that what goes on at Ice Pops doesn't always just stay at Ice Pops. So there are some photos.
We
Um,
had an amazing evening, didn't we? And it was the whole event was brilliant. Thanks to everyone who participated, and I think it's cemented for us the importance of continuing to run this event, which
mm,
for us, I think it's the place where UK copyright library and associated people can actually come together in person.
and do some
So
karaoke.
really, please.
Yeah, and
Yes.
yeah.
Catherine, your karaoke performance was fantastic. Anyway, let's move on to the next item of news, which is related to Ice Pops to the extent that our keynote this year was Monica Weston, who now works at Cambridge University Press, and she is also going to be talking next week in Glasgow at the Create inaugural lecture of their Technology Law LLM, Copyright as Infrastructure in the Age of AI. Her keynote was absolutely fantastic, focusing on knowledge units, slightly mind-blowing because of Monica's background in
Mm.
libraries and technology, and now publishing, and just seeing a very big picture of kind of where the technology, where the services, where the organizations that are behind all of the scholarly infrastructure, where this is heading. So if it's in person, they are going to record it, but if you are around in that part of the country, we would strongly recommend going and seeing what Monica has to say and what people have
Absolutely.
to say in response.
Yeah, yeah. And then related to that, there's also, and there is actually also on the Create blog, the full report from the recent KR21 funded project, which was all about how to address the e-lending problem. So Kenny Barr and colleagues at Create gave a webinar which has been recorded and is up on YouTube. So we put the link into that, but also you can read their full report and Martin Kretschmer's thoughts on whether this means the end of libraries. Those are available now, and lots more interesting events as ever still coming out of KR21. So
Yeah. There's a new podcast on intellectual property matters, which you have highlighted here, Jane. And you picked this one up. Have you had a chance to listen to any of these? I haven't had the opportunity myself.
I just had a quick listen to it. I mean, I think it's interesting. It's broader than copyright. It's about understanding IP more broadly. So there's quite a lot about patents in there and stuff. But I think, as copyright IP related podcasts go, it's not bad. I mean, it's probably not my favorite. I've got one I might prefer to listen to, but
So,
there we
for those of you that aren't picking up on that very subtle subtext, Copyright Waffle podcast, the podcast that Jane and I run, um, is still continuing, and we are in the final stages of editing our most recent episode. And we won't say too much more, but we are excited
Yeah.
about that one. It's a really good one. It does cover, you know, lots of copyright, but other IP related things. Okay, let's move on to two resources from Coventry. So it's a
Yeah, so
Coventry themed
Erica,
week, isn't it?
I just thought I would flag this up as a kind of a sort of trailer before your main presentation, but thank you for sharing this on List CopySeek yesterday. Your which Creative Commons license are you quiz, which I had a lot of fun doing yesterday. I came out as the CC BY person, so I was very happy with that. But some really thought-provoking things. And then you've also got a new Halloween sort of themed escape room as well. So which I haven't yet had a chance to do, but I can see someone saying it's great fun as well. So I've just popped the links into both of those ahead of you two talking, because as ever, Erica continues to be one of the most creative people in the copyright space, coming up with some great ideas. So well done to you, Erica. Yeah.
Yeah, excellent. So we are now at the stage where we are going to have our presentation. And it is going to be Dal Badisha, Head of Learning Resources and Student Experience, Coventry University. And we've also got a credit there for Erica, who suggested this topic to us and has made this all happen. So I'm going to stop sharing the screen now. And Dal, are you able to have a go at sharing your slides at your end?
Yes, thank you, Chris.
Yeah, thank you so much for joining us.
All right.
There we go. Perfect. It's working.
Okay, so take it away, Dal. Thank you very much.
Let me just get it on my end. Thank you for this opportunity, and hello everyone. Erica will be joining me shortly as well. So I'm Dal, as Chris just introduced. We've done quite a lot at Coventry recently, which we're really happy to share with you all. And again, Erica's creativity in this slide shows kind of Coventry's leap of faith. There's a few display setting information there that Erica's put together for us. Thank you, Erica, just in case you have problems viewing. So what are we talking about today? So I really want to share, I'll give you a little bit of an outline of what we're going to speak about. So I think it would be helpful for you to have a bit of an overview as to who the Learning Resources team are and where we evolved from, and some really important changes that have come about since 2024. So the real turning point for us towards OER. The approach that we've taken here at Coventry, and the two key platforms that we're utilising to deliver what we're doing. So just to kind of give you a bit of information as to where the team sits in the structure of the university. So we're based in the library, and we're part of the department that's called Library and Learning Resources, and we report directly to the Chief Librarian, that's his new title, and Group Director of Learning Resources. So the sort of background to what we're doing and our team's remit, it really started back in 2012. This was when the student fees increased, and Coventry, as a response to this fee increase, committed to providing students their course essential reading and course essentials actually at no extra cost to the student. Initially, the scheme was called Promises. We've had various name changes, changed to No Hidden Extras, which, as you can imagine, both Promises and No Hidden Extras is a bit ambitious, because I think we have to be kind of careful with the terminology that we use. And then it's changed to Flying Start, and now we're known as the Learning Resources team. So our vision really is to support our students with their course essential reading, really so that they can achieve not only while at university but also beyond. Mission statement, as I've kind of mentioned earlier, is to provide the entire undergraduate courses with their learning resources at no extra cost. And we found this to be really successful, and this element feeds into the access and participation plan as part of OFS as well. So yeah, have I skipped? Sorry, I might have skipped a slide. Right. Little bit about the turning point and really what underpins what we're doing now. So the Flying Start scheme has been going for quite some time. We're delivering across all undergraduate courses across Coventry University group. So we're talking up to 600 undergraduate courses. My team, actually, they're the ones who kind of did all the hard work and delivered these resources. So we work very closely with course teams throughout the year and making sure that we collated what they required for their course essential reading, liaised with publishers and our suppliers, and delivered those resources every year. So we had an infrastructure in place to do that. And we're the largest textbook scheme in Europe. So as you can see, there was quite a lot of resources that were delivered. Initially, believe it or not, we delivered in print. So when the scheme started, we delivered print books. We transitioned to e-resources in 2019, and we partnered with the BibliU platform. And that was at a really good time. Well, let me rephrase that. That was a fortunate time that we transitioned, because then we went into lockdown, and really we were able to support our students throughout the lockdown period, because all their course essential reading had then transitioned to electronic resources. So that was quite timely, I guess, when we transitioned. So the turning point was influenced by these three factors. A review of the Flying Start scheme, the financial challenges that we're experiencing sector-wide, and obviously the increase in costs on publisher textbooks. So the review of the scheme came out really because obviously it was quite a high cost for the university, but cost wasn't the only driver for the review. The other thing was looking at course essential reading that really aligned to pedagogy, while we're still delivering resources that meet the requirements for teaching and learning. So there was a review conducted, and a mandate was produced for going forward, and our whole model changed. So we went from a very healthy budget to no budget and working your way up. And how did we deal with this? So obviously the remit was still there. We were still committed to providing our students with course essential resources at no extra cost, but we had to find a sustainable way of managing that. And the way we did this was really to find a way that we could align the resources to pedagogy. We still want to increase that accessibility and inclusivity of content. So that was something else that's really important to us. But the approach we took to be able to reduce the costs at the same time as providing those resources was, we went through our list, and because everything could transition to electronic resources, we were able to access engagement data from the BibliU platform, who host our e-resources. And using that data, we could identify which resources were actually being used to a really granular level, down to chapter level. And by using this process, we were able to then make those quick wins and go back to teams and say, well, actually, you haven't used this book either at all or very little, so we won't be including that for next year. So we went through this process, We also looked at adopting unlimited user licenses through our library models, and where we could see from the usage data that students were either just using one chapter or a few pages out of a publisher textbook that we hosted, we utilised the CLA license, and we were able to digitise that content and add it to the reading list. And then there was a big drive on open content. So we're looking at open education resources going forward. And then we conducted a pilot with Sylla. Now, just a little note on OER. Trying to find an OER is very difficult for anybody who may have tried to source something. So this was one of our huge challenges. And when Sylla came along, I think this was one of the turning points. So that's why we've added that note in there. But before I continue, just a little bit about what are OER. Now, apologies if you all know already, and I'm kind of like speaking to the converted, but just a little note to say that OER are teaching and learning and research material. They are created to be licensed and free for everyone to use. And like Joseph, you took part in Erica's amazing quiz, so you will have a little bit of knowledge on kind of the CC licenses. But the main thing behind OER is that they're educational materials that are shared at no cost, and they have the legal permissions to be used freely. Obviously, we know there's some restrictions on licenses, so there's a lot of things that we had to look at. We had to try and locate relevant content, but also be mindful of the licenses that came with these. And the kind of principles that really lie behind OER are these 5 activities. So retain, and so this is where you're able to have, you've got the permission to make your own or control the copies of the content. So that would mean that you could download, duplicate, store and manage these OERs. Reuse, and that's where the permission would then allow you to use that content in different ways within your teaching, for example, whether it was a video or a website, and you could use that in your teaching. Revise is the third one, and this is one that we've utilised a fair bit. So that's the permission to adapt, adjust, or modify the content. Really comes useful when translating into another language. So we're a global university, and there's potential for creating content that can then be translated into another language or reusing that content. And then the remix, so permission to combine content with other material, so a kind of a mix and mashup that we put there. Again, this is something that we've been utilising, which I'll talk about later. And obviously the redistribute, so having the permissions to share your original content or your revisions with others. So what was the mandate at Coventry? So this actually was very key to the success and what we've achieved to date. So this came from the director. Some of it came from leadership following the review, and that really helped our whole journey into OER and flipping at the rate that we have. So firstly, it was a case of prioritising OER to lower the cost, obviously, and at the same time being mindful that we're not passing these costs on to students as part of their course essential resources. And again, similar to what I said earlier, it's not just always about cost. We need to make sure that these are purposely aligned to pedagogical objectives of each module. And we want teams to work collaboratively. So that's not just the teams in the library, but across the university and across the sector. to compile really quality OERs. And then, very important, something that underpins all of this is ensuring that academics and staff are aware of copyright and licensing. So this is a key area of my, so I was so happy when Erica joined our team. So we had a restructure a little while ago, and Erica joined the Learning Resources team, and I'm so pleased that she's within this area now, because I think everything is underpinned by this. I think academics previously perhaps didn't have as much of an understanding. We often found PDFs just, hosted places that they shouldn't be or linked to. So there's a lot of work now that my team and Erica are doing to really provide guidance and training to academics and university staff, so that they're really aware of the importance of copyright and licensing. And as you've seen, Erica does it in a really fun way, so there's lots of creativity behind that training as well. So I mentioned Sylla earlier in one of the slides. Now, who are Sylla? So Sylla are a company based in the Netherlands. They're fairly new. We've known them for probably about 2 years now. And when they came to us, they're very much a startup. They came to us with an idea, and straight away we could see the potential. So when Sylla approached us, we were at the stage where we were trying to discover our own OER, and it really was like looking for a needle in a haystack. So trying to get our academics to transition to OER from commercial publisher titles was a real challenge, and obviously there were a lot of barriers that were in the way. So Sylla offered a tool that would match OER and discover OER, match to module learning outcomes and indicative content. And that was a real game changer, I have to say. This meant that we could adopt OER that had been purposely aligned to pedagogy, and it was something that academics were involved in. It provided them a lot more flexibility, and one of the key things that we really wanted to do was make sure that academics were able to integrate kind of diverse perspectives into these OERs, and this is something that they're able to do by using Sylla. So initially, we entered a pilot with them at the beginning, and we have a really proactive deputy dean in one of our faculties who was completely behind this project, and basically he mandated across his faculty for module leads at level 4 to adopt one OER via Sylla. And it was a real good test for us to see, is this actually going to work for us? And the results speak for themselves. The spend was reduced by 76%. So as you can see on there, but when these OERs were delivered, they're delivered on the BibliU platform. So although the Sylla tool is a tool that's there for academics to discover OER, it's not something that students would integrate with. The BibliU platform is where the deliverable would be, and that's what students would engage with. So these are the two platforms that we've been using. The journey that we took and what formed part of our whole OER campaign and advocacy to staff was we kind of took the strapline, kind of discover, adapt, engage. So the discovery and the adaptation took part within the Sylla platform, and then the engage element happened within BibliU. So as I explained earlier, the OERs were matched to learning outcomes and indicative content. I will do a short demo afterwards so you can kind of see, or just to show you a snip from Sylla so that you can see how the setup is. But basically each module lead has a template, and they're able to populate that template with their module learning outcomes and any other indicative content. And then they literally just hit a switch and it discovers resources for them. They're returned in a set of results, which they're able to review, and then they select and would send them for our review, and we would then approve them, and then they collate almost like a customized OER. So this goes back to one of the 5 Rs, and I think there's a few of them that would apply there, where they're able to look at the licenses and see if that's something that they're able to then create a customized reader for their module. So that adaptation is really, really important. We found, and the results that Sylla come up with are quite impressive, but I will show you that a little bit later. Then the deliverable and the whole student experience sits in the Bibliu platform. So we've used Bibliu since 2019 when we transitioned to E. So this is something that our students are familiar with. So we didn't really want to change anything for students. That whole experience needed to remain the same, and students are now getting their course central reading in the format of OERs, but they wouldn't be any the wiser as far as they're concerned. It's their learning resource. And Bibliu have gone one step further in that when they host the OER, they enhance it with a product called Engage. Now, Engage is like a quiz, an assessment tool that really allows the student to kind of reinforce their learning and comprehension of the text that they've just read. It provides a quiz at the end of each chapter and provides the student with progress tracking. It gives real-time feedback, which has been really useful. And this whole Engage element is a kind of a direct response to student feedback that we've had. So we have focus groups and various surveys with students just to see if we're kind of delivering what they need, and does the format work for them? Is there anything else we can do to enhance their experience? So this is something that I think some of the health courses in particular provided us with feedback. Some of the nursing courses came to us as the students and said, well, wouldn't it be great if we had something in our reading that we could just, at our own pace, test ourselves and see did we really understand that. So I think it's working for them, and we've had some positive feedback from students on that. So we're quite pleased with how that's been working. It took us a while to kind of adopt this. Fortunately for us, the infrastructure was there, because this is something that the Learning Resources team, Flying Start, and before that, we used to order the resources every year prior to the new academic year. So we had a loose structure in place already, and kind of this is the timeline that we use this year to adopt the resources that we're providing to academics. And that would just really include us collating those lists early on, having meetings with module leads and curriculum leads very early, straight after Christmas. We're kind of right into that. But of course, this time round, there was a lot of training and advocacy, really to try and get academics on board, because as you can imagine, to say, okay, you're not having that title from a publisher that they've used for many years, you have to transition to a different text, and it's an open content, something that they may not have been familiar with before. So there was quite a lot of training sessions, which we titled discovery sessions as opposed to training, really because people sometimes sort of think, oh no, hands-on training, I don't really fancy that. So, you know, and I thought if we called it discovery sessions, it might kind of, you know, heighten their curiosity. And fortunately, we did get good attendance, and we were able to conduct these online, which again is always really helpful. So we did have a good turnout for the discovery sessions, and we were able to kind of collate our material. I'm making it sound like it's really easy. It wasn't easy. We did have resistance, but we also had gaps in content. So OER, for anybody who hasn't already used OER, what I need to share with you is that there isn't content out there that covers all subjects, all topics. So we found with our business, economics, finance courses, there was quite a lot of content. Management courses, there was content, but where the gaps were in law. So although in the US, I think they've been using OER for quite some time, here in the UK, especially around law, then there's no UK-centric content. Anything that's out there is US-centric or Canadian, and these have been some of the challenges that we've had with some of the content. And I guess the same would apply to some of the healthcare courses as well. So physiotherapy, occupational therapy, there's quite a few that we couldn't fully deliver on. But in saying this, this is a story so far at Coventry. We have managed to adopt 60% of our course essentials reading list now is delivered as open content. We achieved 80% saving on course essentials overall, and we've managed to deliver a sustainable, high quality OER that have been reviewed by our academics. So we've been able to provide that flexibility so that academics can choose themselves where not. Unlike we joined a meeting once with the university in the US, and their dean kind of shared with us that yes, we give them plenty of flexibility. I choose the titles. Here you go. So make your choice from those, and that's flexibility. Here, there's a lot more kind of academic freedom and flexibility. So academics are able to kind of align the resource to their teaching, which is obviously very important, and we'll continue to do that. So we're told by Sylla that Coventry are leading the way. So we're very pleased with that. Sylla are about to publish another case study. So there was a case study after the pilot, and there'll be another one now following the kind of bulk of adoptions that we've made. Our challenges and next steps, as I've said, OER is kind of geographically limited for some subjects. So Sylla and Bibliu are used to deliver ebooks. E-journals will come, but at the moment we don't have like video or kind of any kind of podcast, that kind of stuff. And we're hoping to integrate lecture notes from academics and other content that academics could contribute, because this is something that we want to kind of develop, where academics are creating content of their own and adding to the open content that we're using. And then, of course, we have the challenge where not all Creative Commons licenses are free to use. So we have been challenged with the NC and ND licenses, where they can't be used for commercial, and they can't be kind of to any other format or mixed and matched how we've been doing with some of our content. So there's quite a lot there that you have to be mindful of when you're kind of delivering something like this. Obviously, there's a whole storage and auditing process. So we've put a lot of governance around what we're doing. We're building on that, obviously. So we've been doing this for about 18 months, I guess, this last year, more at scale, and the team is quite small. So we've not really had a lot of resource on this, but we, going forward, the processes that we've got in place now hopefully will allow for it to grow. And what we really want to do now is to start creating our own content. So whether this is sort of just bite-sized pieces like chapters or the whole textbooks, this is something that going forward Coventry will be getting involved with. Sylla have been quite proactive. They're working with quite a lot of around the sector. There's a lot more universities that are getting involved. Obviously, after our pilot, people did reach out to us to ask, how's it been with Sylla? That this really interesting concept. We'd like to explore this as well. So we're kind of working with other universities to try to collaborate and co-create content going forward. So it's something that Sylla are facilitating as well. And we're kind of concentrating on the areas where there are gaps to see if collectively we can really make a difference in the UK when it comes to OER. So yes, it's very proud of what we achieved here at Coventry, and yeah, I'm lucky to have an amazing team, but worked very hard to kind of help make this happen. And obviously the leadership here have been kind of very supportive, and I think that's key to any kind of project like this. So I think we have a little bit more for you to see. I will now, but I don't think I'm going to have much time for the demo. Let me just see. So the next thing we have for you is, so Erica has put this QR code together. It's a really fun game. Please do have a go. And let's see if we can. I'll just have a look if I can get to my demo for you. I'm not sure how we're doing on time.
Hi Dal, yeah, no, you're fine for time if you'd like to do a quick demo. We've also got quite a few questions coming up in the chat, but yeah, I think it would be really nice if you could show us the Sylla. I think some of us haven't seen it, so that would be great.
Can you see my screen now, or has it?
Yes, we can. Yes, that's perfect. Yeah, thanks.
So, sorry, I can't see what you're seeing at the minute. So
you can see advanced cell and molecular biology, and it looks like you're in the Sylla platform, I'm guessing, at this point.
Thank you. Yes, so with both our platforms, we wanted them to be single sign-on, so that it just makes it so much easier, and it helps with the whole university process, and then it's part of the university's kind of technical infrastructure. So our academics can log into Sylla. What you're seeing on screen now at the moment is one of the populated modules. So what we would do typically is provide Sylla with a list of our modules, and then we'd assign somebody to that module, who would be like the module owner, and then the module owner can invite other people to collaborate and review with them. We did quite a lot of work with Sylla right at the beginning, and I think this has been the benefit of kind of getting in touch with Sylla very early on, because we've been quite instrumental in how the infrastructure is, and we've been able to kind of say, well, ideally for Coventry, this is how we'd like it to work. Can you build this? So we put together kind of a 16-page document and sent it to them and said, this is what we'd like. Do you think you could work to that? They have been so agile and worked with us really to kind of look at our needs and built their platform really to work with both academics and us. So it's such an easy and simple process for academics now. So basically they log in, they're into their module. It's a template that they would then populate with their indicative content and their learning outcomes. And then they just click on the Discover OER content, and it comes up with a whole list of titles for them. I won't click that button now because they'll disappear and give them a whole load of new ones. But let me show you for this module. These are the results that were selected by our module lead. Once the results are selected, they are sent for approval to the learning resources team. But you'll see here, like for this first chapter, for example, you can see that it shows the title of the chapter, the publisher, the license type, which is very important, and obviously also important, the reading time. So they would get to see everything that's matched for them. So their learning outcomes would be matched with content, and it would show them how it was matched. It also shows them the relevance of the match, so it gives a percentage relevance, and then they just would submit these for approval. And like I said earlier, the module lead can invite lecturers from his module to basically review the content and then to look at is this going to match what they want to deliver. So to us, this was completely game-changing. It wasn't anything like what we could do before. It's been received really well. Obviously, there are those who are very much wedded to their commercial publisher titles, and there has been a bit of resistance from a small percentage of academics. But on the whole, I think knowing what our narrative is, most academics have been very engaging and have kind of worked through this process with us. So that kind of shows you really on the Sylla side of things how things.
Yeah. So we're seeing, Dal, just sorry to interrupt, that there's a few questions here and here about how this integrates with virtual learning environments, how it looks to the students, the people reading. Are you about to show us some of that?
Oh, yes.
Oh, excellent.
So again, just to clarify, this Sylla is just for academics. At the moment, the integration, it was just a single sign-on. We haven't got it embedded in our kind of ELE or anything. It's part of the university's techno infrastructure, so they are kind of recognised as that. But it would just be staff that uses this platform. This would be where the students end up. So once the final resource has been adopted, so we have a link, and those links are embedded in our reading lists. And we use Leganto is our reading list software. They'd be embedded in the reading list, and when students want to look at that resource, they would just click the link and it brings them directly here onto the BibliU platform. And this has gone straight into one of the books, it's Anatomy and Physiology, and I'll speak a little bit more about this book in a bit, but just to show you the resource. So this is an OER. It's been split obviously into chapter level, and obviously a student would read through the chapter and they could pick on any area of the chapter to read, and then at the end of the chapter there's a quiz that they can take. We can just go through it if you have time, but quickly. I have no idea. I'm just going to pick anything to mark the question. So that was right. So this is quite good that I got this wrong to show you basically that real-time feedback. So it tells the student what the answer should have been. And the other thing we've done is, so I can't, so if had I practiced this beforehand and put the right answers down, like question 1 is C or whatever, it wouldn't work, because every time you use it, it changes the quiz. So we tested this in the team to see that it worked. Again, I'm not going to read the questions. I'm just going to go straight through so that I can just show you kind of what happens. There's various ways that this works. So there's drag and drop, there's multiple choice, and yeah, this is different types of ways that the testing happens.
Now, we've got only about 10 minutes left now, and we've got lots and lots of questions that are coming up in the chat. So I wondered if we could turn to some of those, and some of which I think is kind of just sort of going back a step of how. So you mentioned you've got Leganto, so you've kind of basically got academics going onto the platform, creating a sort of open textbook. I think there's a question coming up about, who's kind of making a call on the quality. Presumably that's the academics themselves are looking at the resources and making that, but are they working with your learning resources team as well?
So obviously the academic is the one that we really need them to review those resources. So
yeah.
I mean, we're not qualified to do that, and we're not delivering the course. When we started with OER, something that we really wanted to make sure there was a set of principles. So we have a set of principles that academics really need to kind of adhere to when we're selecting OER, and and those would cover: is it critical to pedagogy? Is it diversity and representation, transparency and ethical considerations, interdisciplinary approach, empowerment and agency, and then sustainability and environmental responsibility. So those are our kind of 6 principles. Obviously, they're kind of expanded on. I've just kind of given you the kind of title of them, but really it's to ensure that that resource, it's a quality resource. And then, of course, they do their peer review on them within their own kind of module teaching.
Yeah, but I mean, I presume there's an element of that happens in terms of that there are OERs out there. I could see that particular example you were showing. It's coming from OpenStax, which is obviously a big open textbook sort of platform. But presumably Sylla is kind of acting as an intermediary, so that rather than the academics having to know all the places where OERs might be, they can they're channeled, aren't they? And presumably that acts as a sort of quality control in some ways, because they don't end up in being surfaced in Sylla unless somebody's deemed them to be good quality.
Absolutely. So there is an element of that, but there's always things that kind of slip the net. So I think it's very important to kind of do that, do all the checks afterwards as well, and then it depends on how things align to each subject area or each discipline's needs, so that's something else that kind of is looked at. But yes, we are still mindful that these things do need to be peer reviewed, and something that Sylla are doing now is kind of like a crowd peer review. So there may be new content that's being created, and what they would like to do is that different universities get together and they all kind of collaborate to review this, and this will happen. It's not there yet on the platform, but it will be very soon. So kind of look at content, and and I think that's the way forward, really. I think it's too big a project for one institution to do on its own. I think UK wide or worldwide, I think everybody needs to kind of collaborate to do especially in the UK, I think where we've seen with like taxation, some of the finance courses, and definitely with the law courses, we really need UK-centric content. So that's
Is it primarily, is there a lot, it looks to me, I mean, and I suspect from my sort of knowledge of OERs is that there's probably quite a lot of US content that's coming through, because it's a lot of the US universities that have got very involved, isn't it, in OER? But as you say, the more of us in the UK that start to get involved, the more content we could actually create ourselves and encourage our academics to do that. Chris, did you want to? You had a couple of questions. I know you wanted.
I've picked up on the one from Ileana in the chat, which is, does the £26,000 you mentioned include Biblio? And I think broadening that question out, I think clearly one of the things you've pointed out is how much money you've saved, but you are then investing in a platform. So can you talk to us about how those costs stack up?
A very small fee, nothing like what we paid for the commercial publisher textbooks that Biblio charge, and that is really because the file that is created within Sylla is a PDF. It's then converted to an EPUB, and then it's enhanced with the quizzing tool. So the cost is for that, not the content.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah.
But there is a charge for Sylla, presumably, as well. There is a cost.
Yeah, so we have a consultancy charge with Sylla.
Yeah. I think some people may be wanting to sort of find out more and get some contact details from Sylla, but perhaps we could share that afterwards, or pop something. Maybe Erica could pop something in the chat, because I know, that would be good. Chris, was there other?
I think
answered quite a few of the questions. So how many people were involved in the project? So it's about 4.5 people in the team. But Irene had a couple of questions we could.
She did. I think some of that has been picked up. It's about the the creation of OERs, and I think, Dal, you've pointed out that that's something that you're looking to do more in future. So I'm looking at Will and Erica's responses in the chat, saying that you are developing an open education network, a publishing program through that network, and that is something that we to move away from that US focused content. So is that something that people can contact you about? Should institutions be looking at being part of the open education network in order to help that process?
Absolutely. I mean, there's a few universities who have been very active, and anyone can contact us, and we will. Erica, if you don't mind putting our contact details in the chat, that would be great. If you could email us at Learning Resources, and equally, if anybody wanted a little bit more information, obviously there's so much I haven't covered. I'm quite happy to have a kind of a separate meeting if I
think we might be inviting you to come back in the new year to talk a bit more about this, and maybe if there's some other institutions who are working on OERs, because I'm really interested in this. My module is about open educational practices. I started teaching this week, and I've always found that academics are very interested in OER. I think it's the practicality of, well, what do I do with it? How do I use it? And actually, maybe this is the kind of missing piece. So this has been really useful. Chris, I think we're almost out of time, aren't we? So
we are indeed. Yeah, no, thank you so much for coming.
So grateful to you for coming and chatting to us, sharing this. I think there's going to be a lot of interest, and we'll definitely come back to you for more. I think perhaps a sort of in-depth look at OERs in specific disciplines. I'm really interested in how it's being used in health, but also in business as well. So thank you.
Lots and lots of good chat comments from the people here. So thank you again, and we definitely want to stay in touch.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, you're getting loads of nice comments, so thank you. Chris, do you want to just pop back to our slides?
I do want to pop back to our slides. Let me just say, so just to wrap up, to say that the next webinar is going to be on the 14th of November. It's going to be the highlights of Ice Pops. For those
Yay.
of you that couldn't make it, or those of you that were there but just want to hear them again and see if there's any update. We've got Sarah Breer from the CLA, Diane Crawford-Layton from Exeter, Doug McCarthy from Open Future, and Anna Enriquez from Penn State University Libraries, who was talking about Copyright X. So excellent. We'll hopefully get a decent bunch of people. And then, of course, looking ahead to the end of the year, yes, it's coming. That time of year is almost upon us, so we will be
Those are
marking
still
it.
scarred by that quiz at Ice Pops where I barely answer any questions. I'm frantically reading up, trying to improve my general knowledge, reading on all sorts of things, Catherine, about who said this, Liam or Noel, although maybe that won't feature this year. Who knows?
Not there'll be something else, Catherine. I'm sure you will knock it out of the park. Okay, so thanks very much, everyone. We got, as ever, I mean, it is now 1 minute past 12, so you are free to go. Just one last thing. This is something you notice, Jane, isn't it? Whenever you're looking at the news,
Oh yes, what did they
you
call it?
pick up.
Fitness
They
fanatics.
go, those of you who, it's because both of you and I have the same Garmin watch, really, that we picked this up, isn't it? But yes, there's always some kind of dispute between big tech companies regarding intellectual property. If you're used to having your Garmin watch put the data up into Strava, then if you are a fitness fanatic like me and Jane, then maybe there's an issue there. But we
Sorry,
thought we would just
that was
let
the
you know.
wording used by ITV News, wasn't it? Not us. I don't think
Quality journalism.
describe ourselves as a fitness fanatic, but yes, copyright affects all sorts of things. And sports licensing, as I once found out at a meeting at the IPO, is obviously a hugely important area.
It's massive, absolutely massive.
But this is all about sport data, or from your wearable.
Personal data, yes. Okay, I think that's time to wrap it all up, to say once again, huge thanks to Dal and Erica for joining us and telling us about their inspiring story about how they actually made OER happen rather than just have it be a good idea. And we will, oh yes, Kevin is clearly another fitness fanatic issued by the important topic that we just raised. Okay, no, thank you so much. And I think we will look forward to seeing you all next time.
Yeah, hope to see some of you on the 11th of November. Thank you. Bye, everyone. Bye.
Goodbye.
Thanks, Catherine. Thank you.